Man, listen. All right. I'm a student of history. I'm a student of human beings. Like, I went to college for anthropology. I didn't finish shit, you know what I'm saying? But I went to college for anthropology because, like, I love the study of human culture and civilizations. And I love seeing what makes people work in the same way I love seeing what makes an engine work. Like, I'm a mechanical creature. I'm an individual who goes, well, this leads to this, leads to this. I'm a logical individual. And I've read many books in my day. Well, actually, not even that many. I've read like probably 200 books in my day, right? And of these books that I read, the ones that always stuck out to me most, the ones that I found to be most important, are the ones that explain that this is not a new phenomenon, right? And one of these books that I think is very important for us to really look at is what's known as the Discourses on Livy from Niccolo Machiavelli. All right. And Livy was a Roman historian. He was the last Roman historian. He's the individual, like, he's like a Herodotus type of Greece. All right. And if you don't know who Herodotus was, Herodotus is the reason you know about the Spartans, right? And the reason you know about the Persians, and the reason you know about most of the ancient world. His is the only writing that really exists. And Livy's kind of on that level with the fall of the Roman Empire. Because after the Roman Empire came the Dark Ages, and there just wasn't a lot of information that was kept. All right? So, knowing what happened and understanding things and having this breakdown from an ancient mind and a Renaissance era mind, right? Like Machiavelli's, who was the beginning of the Renaissance. He's the individual who actually like kicked off the Renaissance. Is a really important thing for understanding that the problems that we're having today are not fucking new. Okay, so let's talk about things. I'm going to read you a couple of these passages, break them down as I go through, and just in general show you that this is not a new phenomenon, what we're happening right now. And not so much with the plague, but just in how human beings behave. Because I literally just got into it with fucking Max Maria, right? Again, which is a pain in the ass. Because I like the dude. And I get into it with people on a regular basis because we all stand here and agree on knowledge. And then I stand here and go, we should apply this knowledge. And motherfuckers go, yo, like, yesterday we all agreed 2 + 2 = 4. And then today niggas be like, well, 2 + 2 = fish. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's always going to be 4. Always gonna be 4. No matter what happens. Alright? You can't sit here and start fucking tying your fucking head in the knots. And tying all the rest of our heads in the knots and blaming the fucking Bilderbergers. When the truth is, you can just simply look to history and look to your society and look to the red pill shit that we've all been fucking learning over the past few years. Alright? And like, it's important knowledge. Understanding Turd's law. Understanding, you know what I mean? Like, yo, the knowledge that comes out of TFN's mouth is highly important. Though I disagree with him on some premises of where I don't like the ideology that we should continue to expand population-wise, right? Because I think that it should reach an equilibrium at some point. I think we're probably past that level. I think it should be probably around 250 million in the U.S., right on our landmass, as far as being able to afford, you know what I mean, houses, cars, real estate for the general public, so that you can maintain your society long term. And that's what this is what this chapter and shit's about. All right. So this is from chapter 2 of book 1. It says, of the various kinds of government, and to which of them the Roman Commonwealth belong. For suddenly liberty passed into license, wherein neither private nor public authority was respected, but everyone living as he liked, 1,000 wrongs were done daily. Whereupon, whether driven by necessity or the suggestion of some wiser man among them, and to escape anarchy, the people reverted to a monarchy, from which step by step, in the manner for which a cause is already assigned, they came round once more to license. For this is the cycle revolving in which all states are and have been governed. Although in the same state, the same forms of government rarely repeat themselves, because hardly any state can have such vitality as to pass through such a cycle more than once and still be together. So basically what he's saying is that you have a republic which breaks down, or a republic or a democracy which breaks down to anarchy. And this is part of this discourse is on Leave It. A lot of people, like, you need to read this fucking book. Or actually, it's 10 books. You need to read them. It's fucking important. It's great information. Basically what he says is he goes through and he breaks down the different forms of government. He says, monarchies and princedoms break down into, feudal systems. Democracies break down into anarchy, and republic breakdowns into oligarchy, right? And that's where we are. We had an oligarchy which broke down into, we had a republic which broke down to oligarchy, which broke down to democracy, right? Which is now coming down into anarchy. And the next step is fucking monarchy. And that's how, like, the system of governments pass through, right? So, all right. And you see how, like it says, the government can rarely repeat themselves, because there's no way we can stay together as a country, and there's no country that's ever stayed together as one that ended up going through a cycle more than once. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's really where it is. For it may be expected in some sea of disaster, when a state must always be wanting prudent counsels, and in strength it will become subject to some neighboring or better governed state. Though, assuming this has not happened, it might well pass for an indefinite period from one of these forms of government to another, right? He said, I can well believe then that to found a republic which shall long endure, the best plan may be given internal institutions like those of Sparta or Venice, placing it in a naturally strong situation, and so fortifying it that no one can expect to get the better of it easily, yet at the same time not making it so great as to be formidable to its neighbors, since by taking these precautions it might long enjoy its independence. For there are two causes which lead to wars being made against a republic. One, your desire to be its master. The other, to fear lest it should master you. So basically, if you have a stronger nation sitting next to a weaker nation, war's going to eventually fucking erupt. All right? It is what it is. And if your country is non-expanding of its borders, which is going to get into next, right? If you have internal ways of stopping, your country from expanding into others, it ends up being that, you end up being better off for it, but sort of, right? It's a weird way of this is looking at it, right? All right, so, for there are two causes which lead to wars being made against. One, your desire to both of which dangers the precaution indicated will go far to remove. For as we are to assume, this republic will be well prepared for defense and consequently difficult to attack. It will seldom or never happen that anyone will form the design to attack it, while it keeps within its own boundaries, and it is seen from the experience not to be influenced by ambition. Okay, so this is kind of like the level of where, if you have an empire like Great Britain, or an empire like the United States has in its corporate type of mentality, when you expand your borders, even to the level of where you have territories outside of yourself, people will attack your territories. They're not going to attack you, right? But they will attack your territories, because they can't attack the United States because, like, we're surrounded. We have, great neighbors on top of us, weak neighbors to the south of us, and on the east and west, we're surrounded by fish, right? So it's really difficult to make war in the United States just due to our geographic location. But in fucking us having all the territories like Guam and all the places all across the world, those places, on the other hand, right, will be an issue. Like, for instance, our backing up of Taiwan is going to lead to a war with China, no matter what happens, because we're outside of our borders. We've expanded past our ability of where our geography protects us, if you can understand where that mentality comes from. All right, so It will seldom never happen that anyone formed a desire, and while it keeps within its own boundaries, it is seen from experience not to be influenced by ambition. No one will be led out of fear for himself to make war upon it, more particularly when its laws and constitution forbid its extension, and were it possible to maintain things in its equilibrium. I veritably believe that herein we will be found the true form of political life and the true tranquility of a republic. But all human affairs being in movement and incapable of remaining as they are, they must either rise or fall, and to many conclusions to which we are not led by reason, we are brought by necessity, so that when we are given institutions to a state in a footing that is to maintain itself without enlargement, should the necessary require its enlargement, its foundations will be cut from below it, and its downfall quickly ensue. On the other hand, were a republic so favored by heavens as to lie under no necessity of making war, and the result of this ease would to be make it effeminate and divided, which two evils together, and each by itself, shoot man, I just lost my place, each by itself would be would ensure its ruin. And since it is impossible, I believe it, to bring about its equilibrium, or to adhere strictly to the mean path, we much in arranging our republics consider what is more honorable course for it to take, and so contrive that it necessary compel its enlargement, and may be able to keep what it gains. All right, so basically what it's saying is this, what Machiavelli is trying to tell you is this: you have to be forever expanding as a state. All right. And that seems counterintuitive, but it's just the truth of the matter, because individuals will become effeminate, and it applies to this coronavirus mentality, right? Where people will stand here and become lazy and complacent when they have too much. When things become easy on a constant basis, they become complacent. And that's where we are in our society. And it's our fault, right? Legitimately, it's our fucking fault where we are. It's no one's fault but our own. And the reason for this is because we've stood here and had it just too fucking easy for too long. We haven't had major wars. We haven't had major conflicts. We haven't had fucking, plagues. We haven't had death. We haven't had a fucking predator. There's nothing to keep us strong and fast and able to fucking maintain. There's nothing that has caused us to grow. There's nothing that caused us, because you don't maintain your strength. You don't maintain your ability without having a necessity to do so. Right? And this isn't considering just militarily, right? This is considering on an entire societal level. And that's really where this is. You have to understand the human being. All right? Because the human being is a flawed thing. It's beautiful in its flaws. And that's what makes it amazing. That's what makes us great as people, because we're beautiful in our flaws. We're beautiful in our downfall. Right? But we have to understand what we are, though, as flawed creatures. And understand that people have become complacent and weak. And we got what we deserve. This is not some giant conspiracy thing, right? It's not. It's not a bunch of people standing here collectivizing together to, it's not like the top 1% going, we need to get control over these plebs. It's not the deal. The truth is that, look, apply your red pill knowledge. Apply that mental that fucking we've all given you, right? Apply all these things that we've learned. All these jobs are full of women. Do they really want to work? What's the government full of? What is it? Fucking 40 million, 20 million, 30 million, some shit like that. People work for the government. State and local are much larger than the federal. These are the individuals shutting down all the meat packing. They're not trying to starve you out. They're just lazy fucks. They've never worked for a living. They don't want to work for a living. This is the mental, all right? This is the fucking mental that you have to understand and keep in your fucking back of your head. All right? Legitimately. This is kind of... This is some shit that, you have to apply your knowledge to. You have to learn how to apply subjects forward. We got what we deserve. It's not some giant conspiracy theory. All right? Literally, why? Because, yo, we outnumber the rich 100, 200, a million to fucking one. It's not that hard for us to take this shit from them. It's not that hard for us to outvote them. It's not that hard for us to fucking take back the government. But the truth is, all right, is that we got what we deserve. We got what we vote for. That's the reality of things. We chose this fucking path. Why? Because we become complacent. It's that simple. All right? It's that basic. You'll never be able to preserve your fucking liberty unless you need it. Right now, you kind of need it. A year ago, you didn't need it at all. That's the truth. Because, like, hey, look. When you have 43 million people living on fucking welfare, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? When you have a third of your population living on Social Security, what are you going to do? Shit that you got to think about. We got what we deserve. We got what we wanted. There's nothing extra about that. Anyway, man, make sure y'all check out this fucking book. It's fucking amazing. You know, I mean, these 10 books, really. Anyway, yo, look, I'm Tom Pease of Pnoid News. Y'all enjoy this content. Like, share, and subscribe. All right? Peace be like one. Later.